Good morning, friends. This is an instructional video on how to use OpenLP for uh, projecting lyrics. OpenLP is pretty similar to ProPresenter. It's just a free open source version. Has a lot of similar functionality. Maybe not all of the same functionality, but for most applications, it's a great tool to use for presenting, and it definitely stands head and shoulders above PowerPoint for using for church presentation. So with that, we'll jump into it. And once again, this is user training. So we're not showing you how to set it up, but assuming that OpenLP is set up, I'm going to show you how to load up songs and how to download new songs and the basic functionality of OpenLP. So with that in mind, I've got my song list here that I'm going to add in. So the area to the left over here is your library of songs. You've also got some other items like Bibles, presentations, images, things like that. Primarily for this tutorial, we'll just stick with the songs, but just know that you can load them in. And you can also preview them if you double click on them. So the first song in our set is Waymaker. So I'm going to type in Waymaker, and we see that we've used the search tool to find it. Double click on it, we can preview it and see what it looks like. We can step through some of the verses and choruses here. So that looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over to my service manager over here. So you can create a new service for every service, and that way you could save it, or you can just start a new one every time. It's up to you. But basically, when you set up a service, you build it up over here. All right, and then if I double click on it, or if I drag it over into live, it move over into the live service. So this is now projecting, and let me just take a look. Let's see if it's up on our other screen here. Okay, so it's up on the other screen. Cool. All right, moving back to this display. All right, so we can add multiple songs over here. So for my next song, we have Break Every Chain. So let's see if that's in our library. Break Every Chain. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to drag that over. Once again, I can drag it over to, well, double click and add that to the active song. All right, so that's now presenting. I have a few different themes over here that we can use. It looks like we're using the wave theme for this service, but you can certainly go through some different themes. This is winter cheese here. Maybe that's not appropriate since it's springtime. I think everyone's ready for spring and water. Okay. So for our last song is Good, Good Father. So let's see if that's in here. Good. Nope. No, it's not in there. Okay. So the best way to add songs to OpenLP is to use Song Select. So I'm going to assume that you have or have access to a Song Select account. I've got my browser here queued up to go to Song Select. As you can see, my user info is tied to multiple organizations. So I'm setting this up for Auburn. So I'll select Auburn. Remember that Song Select has a limited number of unique songs that you can download annually. So you want to make sure that you grab the right one and you don't grab the wrong one, or you'll burn through your church's your limit on how many songs you can download. So let's look for Good, Good Father. Let's see what comes up. Okay, I think this is my song here, so I'm going to click on that. Let's take a look at the lyrics here. Yep. So this is the song that I want. So this is a preview of it. So this is the actual lyrics that I want to import into OpenLP. It's a very simple process. You just click on download, right? And you're just going to hit save, and note that it's a text file. So we import as a text file, and that text file has everything that we need to bring into OpenLP. We will save that. Minimize here. Let's bring up our downloads folder. You can see it's in there. Okay, cool. So the import process, you're going to go to Tools, File, Import, Song. All right, select that. Okay, step through here. So the format here is going to be CCLI Song Select, since that's where we downloaded it from. And I'm going to add files. The downloads, good father. Okay, cool. Open. Note that you can select multiple if you download a couple of songs at the same time. Next. It does all of its thinking, and cool. So now we've got good father added, and I'm going to bring it over here into my service plan here, and then I've got my 3 songs in my service manager. So it's Waymaker, Breaking Every Chain, Good Father. Note that I can reorder these as needed, and then you can also add other things like images, PowerPoints. You can pretty much add whatever you want over here. But when it comes to the actual lyrics, you want to bring it in as a text file from Song Select because that has everything already pre-formatted to work well with OpenLP. So let's load up Good Father so I can step through the different parts of the song here through my preview, right? So this is currently projecting. There's a couple of things that you want to pay attention to with these buttons over here. This is black screen if you don't want to show anything at all, right? Note that it's a toggle. You turn it on and you turn it off. So just have to remember if you've hit black screen, then you want to show something, you got to turn it on again. This basically leaves the theme up and clears all the lyrics. And you can see that's also a toggle. And this button here shows your desktop. So I have selected it, and note that this is still showing in your preview. Okay. Don't be alarmed. Well, let me show you the actual screen. This can be a little bit confusing. It's actually showing the desktop. So this is what's on the desktop. I see that we have the mixer up here, and it is not the presentation software, right? Let me flip back here and toggle that back on, and we will go back and look, and we can see that that's our presentation. All right, cool. So just make note of that the preview kind of lies here. It'll show you the preview of what it would be presenting, but it's not actually presenting when you have the desktop selected. So just make sure that you keep an eye on these 3 buttons here because they can throw you off. All right, so that's pretty much it. I mean, you step through the songs, you double click on the next song that you want to load up, and you just continue to step through the music. So it works really well on desktops. We actually are able to send lyrics from OpenLP into OBS Studio for our live stream, so the people joining us on live stream can watch as well. There's one other thing that I want to show you as a basic user how to use. Sometimes our computers are not in a great spot. You know, it may be hunched over at a table if we're at a conference or something, or if we're up in a cafe, you know, and nobody likes to be staring at the wall when everyone else is facing the other way worshiping, right? So I am going to show you how you can worship and control the slides, and not necessarily standing behind a booth or sitting at a table. Okay, so if we go to Configure OpenLP in the settings and go down to Remote, once you get to the settings, these URLs here, you can use the QR code or you can type this into your phone. I'll just click on it because I'll show you in a browser window. Click on the main remote here, and that'll bring it up in a browser window, but you could bring this up in your phone or your tablet. And this allows you to step through the slides. Let me just close this. You can step through the slides remotely from your phone. So note that I'm changing the slides here. So as long as you are on the same network, and you can't be on a guest network, you have to be on an internal network. This allows you to run the entire presentation from your phone as long as you've got everything set up the way that you need it. And as you can see, I can step through the different songs, hit the different slides, and everything just moves nice and clean. So very useful tool and something that you may want to be aware of if you don't want to be stuck behind the computer. And with that, that concludes the basic tutorial of how to use OpenLP presentation software. Once again, just remember, this is your library over here. This is your preview. This is your service manager, and this is what's actually live, and this is where you're driving from. Over here, you have your themes that you can change. There's a few different ways you can configure the themes. You can set it as a global theme or set a theme for each song. That's all in the settings. I'm not going to go into that here. And make sure that you pay attention to these buttons, because if it's not presenting what you think it is, it's usually because you've got one of these toggled and you need to untoggle it. All right, that concludes this tutorial.